Good morning and welcome to School of Rock this morning. I hope you're having a really good Easter holidays and that you're enjoying relaxing and resting. This morning we're going to be talking about water. So we thought that we would start with an experiment to see what items do you think will float and what do you think will sink. I've got a variety of items here and some of them are going to float and some of them are going to sink. So we'll start with the first one. The first one's a plastic swinky. What do you think? Do you think this will float or do you think this will sink? Let's have a look. We'll pop it in. Straight down to the bottom. It sunk. Let's have a look at another object. We're going to take our plastic fish now. This is quite big. What do you think? Do you think it will float or do you think it will sink? In it goes. Let's have a look. It's floated. Have a look at another object. Oh, I found a clothes peg. This is from the washing line. Do you think this will float or do you think it will sink? Let's try it in. Straight down to the bottom. The next one that I've got is quite a big object. This is a plum, a piece of fruit. Do you think this will float or do you think this will sink? Let's have a look. It's floating. Floating back up to the top. It's doing a little bit of bouncing, isn't it? It's floating. I've got two more objects left. They're both about the same size. Shall we put them in together? Do you think they will both float? Do you think they will both sink? Do you think one might float and one might sink? Shall we have a look? So I've got a ball and a rock. They're the same size. Let's put them in together. Oh, that's straight down to the bottom. Let's have a look at the ball. And that's floated. Do you know when you deal with water, lots of things will either float or sink. And I think if I got in the water, what do you think I would do? Do you think I would float or do you think I would sink? I think that I would sink. But we're going to hear a story later on about when Jesus walked on top of the water. Here's a song for you to listen to first.
Good morning, School of Rock. We're now going to sing Jetpack. So you need to get your jetpacks on, your helmets and your radio ready to do the big dance. Are you ready? Jetpacks! Helmet, check! Radio, check!
so all will see your worth.
I wanna go where you lead me. Let the world know what you have done. I've got my jetpack on and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Darkest corners of the world,
I will show you
light so all will see your worth.
I wanna go where you lead me. Let the world know what you have done. Got my jetpack on and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Our story this morning is all about the miracle of Jesus walking on the water. It starts as Peter and John, Matthew and Thomas were catching fish on their boat. While they were out, the sea was quite rough. Can you see them in the picture, trying to catch their fish? But Jesus wasn't in the boat with them. He was up praying in the mountains, and he saw the boat from far away. Suddenly, the disciples saw Jesus coming towards them. He was walking on the water. Can you remember our experiment earlier, when we were looking at things that were floating or sinking? And we decided then, didn't we, that people would sink if they went on the water. But Jesus didn't sink. As he took his feet one step in front of the other, he walked on top of the water. He was floating. They thought that it was a ghost at first, and so they were all scared. I think I would be a bit scared if I saw somebody walking on top of the water. Would you be? But Jesus came to them and reassured them and said that it was him. "It is I," he said. "Don't be afraid." Just as he said that, Peter decided that he wanted to walk on the water, and so he stepped out of the boat and found himself walking on the water too. He was looking up at Jesus, and as his eyes were looking on Jesus, he too was able to walk on the water, because he was trusting that Jesus would take care of his every step. Peter then got a little bit nervous and started looking around, and he saw the wind, and as he saw the wind, he started to feel a bit frightened. As soon as he took his eyes off Jesus, he started to sink. "Lord, save me!" Peter cried. And Jesus held out his hand and helped Peter out. "You have little faith," Jesus said. "Why did you doubt?" Because as Peter had got his eyes fixed on Jesus, his trust was completely in him. But the moment he took his eyes off Jesus and started looking at the things around him, he started to sink. He wasn't trusting completely in Jesus anymore. And that's why Jesus said to him that he'd got little faith, because he'd taken his eyes off Jesus. Once Jesus pulled him up out of the water, they all climbed back into the boat, and the wind calmed down. The disciples were all amazed and said that Jesus was truly the Son of God. And that's who we need to see him as today. We need to make sure that our eyes are fixed firmly on Jesus, because he truly is the Son of God and will help us to walk on the water.
Hi, School of Rock. Are you ready to shine for Jesus? Do a little bit of a dance.
shine from the inside out, that the world will see you live in me. Shine the world will see you live in me. You know me, and you love me, you feel me, so send me to shine from the inside out, that the world will see you live in me. Shine from the inside out, that the world will see you live in me. Shine from the inside out, that the world will see you live in me. Shine from the inside out, that the world will see you live in me. Know me, love me, feel me, send me. Know me, love me, feel me, send me. Oh, know me, love me, feel me, send me. To shine from the inside out, that the world will see you live in me. Shine from the inside out, that the world will see you live in me. You know me, and you love me, you feel me, so send me. Know me, love me, feel me, send me. Know me, love me, feel me, send me. Know me, love me, feel me, send me. To shine.
Our memory verse this week is taken directly from the story. It's the part where Jesus is talking to the disciples in the boat, and he says to them, "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." And it's found in the book of Matthew, chapter 14, verse 27. You can see the words on the balloons next to me, and what we're going to do to try and commit it to our memory is we're going to say it and we're going to pop a balloon each time to see if we can remember what it says. So can you say it with me? And each time when a balloon goes, we're going to try and remember what it should say. Are we ready? Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid. Matthew 14, verse 27. Are we ready to pop a balloon? There goes the orange one. Can you remember what it says? Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid. Matthew 14, verse 27. Let's pop another balloon. There goes the blue one. Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid. Matthew 14, verse 27. Let's pop another balloon. Oh, there goes the other blue one. Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid. Matthew 14, verse 27. Are you ready to pop another one? Can you remember all these? Let's pop the green one. Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid. Matthew 14, verse 27. We're going to pop the red one now. Are we ready? There it goes. Take courage, don't be afraid, it is I. Matthew 14, verse 27. I hope you remember those words this week, and remember that when your eyes are fixed on Jesus, that you take courage and remember who you're looking at and keep focused on him. I hope you have a good week.